Is this thing on? Is this thing on? If you can hear me, go ahead, hit the chat and let me know. Let me know. What's good? Man, oh man. Well, first off, shout out to everybody that's here in the watch party. What is going on though? You see the hat is barely on. I chucked it already. I think after the first two turnovers, and then when they scored 28 points, put it back on and threw it again. It's one of those moments right now, baby. What in the world? But shout out to everybody that's in the chat, man. You know how we do this thing when we kick off the watch parties. I gotta know where you're checking in at. So first, let me know where you watching the game at, man. Where are we located at tonight? And then from there, we're gonna get to some of these questions because this is crazy. It's crazy. And we gotta talk about it. Unreal. Let me see who we got in this building though, man. Who's in the building with us tonight? All right, you got Aiden Parent. Shout out to Jersey in the building. Okay, still a nation in Ohio. Shout out to Steph over in Winnipeg. I like it. All right, got Brian and VA. Shout out to the 2 up, 2 down, baby. Yes, indeed. And I also got my uncle up here as well, man. Shout out to Uncle D holding it down in P-Town. Yes, sir. Man. But first off, let's talk about this thing. All right, we're sitting here. I mean, from the start of this thing, the snap over the head, this is just it's not the way you want to start a game, man. First off, when we talk about a team like the Browns coming into this, the biggest thing that you couldn't do is give them hope. And that's what we started out with from the beginning. I mean, that whole first quarter, you could just see how they went from being lifeless to now they feel like they're world beaters right now. A major, major problem, man. Major problem. Let's get back to this real quick though, man. Hey, Jarrell, I checked in. I texted Deke a little while ago. I have not heard back from him. So, yes, I'm a little nervous. If you see me check my phone periodically, that's what I'm doing, all right? I got to make sure he is not on the ledge. Because if anyone's taking this hard, you know it's him, all right? Whew. And that's my dog. All right, let's see. All right, we got, was that Rito Madden all the way from Brazil? Shout out to you. All right, Robert Wanamaker down in ATL, Georgia. Okie USN 94 on Oklahoma. Shout out to Adam in Jamestown, New York. Oh, and Nee Drew or any Drews. I'm not sure which way you said. I'm thinking it's Nee Drews though. All the way in the Bahamas though, man. Nassau, major love. Need to go back. Soon as COVID settles down, I'll be back. Gizmo 256. Okay. We got Marshall checking in Charlotte. All right, got a Kentucky in the building. Shout out to you too, Sebastian, all the way over in Spain. I like that. I like it. Who we got in there? Okay. Shout out to my mate Joe across the pond in England. I like it. Ian in Maryland. Okay. All right. So nobody's jumped off the cliff yet, right? We all good. That was another reason, right? I said, man, get the locations. That way I can just make sure if you're hitting me in the chat, that lets me know you still alive. You haven't completely lost your mind. Because I was worried. I'm telling you, I was very much worried for a second. Field goal before halftime though. I like it because number one, it puts us back in striking distance. That's the big part, right? We got to find a way, especially early on in this third quarter, to get a quick score. We got to get this momentum back. That's been the biggest thing, man. If you take away that momentum and some of those just turnovers, obviously it's a big time difference in this game. But that's the beauty, right? The two halves. Now, can Ben come out and hit some of these throws? Can these receivers make some of these catches and stuff like that? That's what that's what we have to find out. But I do like that field goal at the end. It puts us in a good position right now. All right. Hey, Eli, shout out to you again, baby. Always in the building. How do you fix a hole in the wall? Whew. Yeah, that's a good one right there, man. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta move something in place of it, right? Just put a nice little paint up over it, and it kind of covers it up. Right now, man, we're gonna need something serious though. All right, we need a serious construction crew because this is bad right now. This is really really bad. Uh-oh, Ghost Knight. I was waiting. I needed to know who was gonna bring it up. Should we be looking for a Mason Rudolph appearance in the second half? Funny thing is, we did talk about this on the podcast, and we kind of put together a hypothetical doomsday scenario of if Ben is having a game where he's having some turnovers and we're down big, what would you do? Do you go down with 7? Do you make a switch and hope that Mason can spark something? For me right now, it hurts to say it, but when we come out, I'm giving Ben, I need 2 series. And I'm hoping that we can get some more productivity out of it. But it's not just him, and that's the thing, too. You think about the interceptions, not all of them were on him. The one with the second one, Deontay has to catch that. I know people say it's a little bit high, but for the premier receivers in this league, if that ball hits your hands, you have to bring it down. So it's not all Ben, but yes, Ben has been a part of it. And the only reason I'm saying I'm thinking, 2 series, and if it looks the same in terms of just not having any type of productivity, I'm thinking about making that switch to Mason, was because Mason went against this exact same defense a week ago and lit them up, especially on the deep balls. So to me, if it gets to that time where, the season's obviously on the line here and we haven't, like I said, we're about 2 series into that third quarter, we haven't seen any type of spark. Well, yeah, that's why I'm leaning to that, because you got to do whatever it takes right now, man. It's win or go home. And this is the Browns. That's the thing that's killing me. If this is any other team in the playoffs, I think we would all handle it a lot differently. But it's little brother. Little brother never beats up big brother. And especially like this. This isn't even like beating him up. This is like, it's getting gory. Unreal. So yes, desperate times will call for desperate measures. But we are not there just yet. Not just yet, because we do know 7 comes out of halftime. Sometimes it's a slow starter. Understandably so. And he's coming off of a bye week for him, right? So it was understandable that he might be a little rusty coming out the gate. Second half, though, he got to start off fast. Because that clock is ticking, man. The clock is ticking. Hey, Nathaniel, man, what's wrong with the defense? Man, for me, the biggest thing I'm seeing is, number one, communication on the back end. That touchdown to Austin Hooper at the end of the half, it was a miscommunication. I'm not sure exactly who, because I just couldn't see from the TV copy, but it was definitely some type of miscommunication at that linebacker level. And you can't have those things, man. And this is the thing. We saw this also occurring last week as well. So that's something that they're going to have to get addressed right now. If you talk about a fail-safe to it, you don't want to dumb down your defensive calls too much. But if it gets to that point where they can't communicate and execute these, route combinations the right way, well, you might just have to get vanilla and play simple man-to-man, cover 3, where they're either hook dropping or they're, like I said, man-to-man on their guy to take some of that confusion away. But they're going to have to get that cleaned up. That's the one of the bigger issues defensively. And then the second part, the Browns are just more physical right now. I mean, you look at some of those runs by Chubb, especially the touchdown run, man, you're seeing linebackers get slammed. You're seeing just them winning the line of scrimmage with the group that we also stated shouldn't be able to move the ball because of the injuries that they had, because of the COVID situation. Now, it should be interesting in the second half now that Jack Conklin more than likely won't be returning, right? We saw him leave leaving that second quarter with the hammy, and it looks like he's not out there right now either. So hopefully TJ can start taking advantage of that a little bit more. But the problem is this, with the Browns having the lead that they have right now and their ability to run the ball right now, it's hard for TJ to just rush the passer. He's having to play run, and then rush on a play action. That's totally different. So until this score gets a little bit closer, I don't anticipate us being able to fully take advantage of that just yet. A reality sucks. In terms of Pouncey making the Pro Bowl, this is why when we talk on the show and we say the Pro Bowl is cool, but it doesn't hold the same type of respect, is because it's more from a popularity standpoint, right? So we always say to find out your top guys, you look for the all-pro list, first and second team all-pro. And obviously he's not up there, but that's the biggest thing, man. The all-pro list, because that's voted amongst the actual reporters and the people who are watching this game, not from a fan standpoint, but from a more objective standpoint and things like that. So yeah, that's the biggest reason why he was able to get named into the Pro Bowl, man. Because we all have seen him struggle a little bit this year, or not even a little. He struggled for a good portion of the season, but because of the popularity that he has, that was the biggest reason. Hey, and Richie, in terms of the Steelers playing like this in big games, I don't feel that way, honestly. Now, this year's been a little bit different, but typically they rise to these occasions. Typically, it's the alternative, right? When they have the opponent that you feel like they should run through, they kind of overlook them. And I feel like that's, as much as we like to guard against it, I do feel like at the beginning of this game that was taking place. In terms of them coming in, understanding the Browns being a little bit underhanded because of the coaching staff that they have out there and the coaches that they don't have in terms of their head coach and obviously Joe Batonio. But the Browns, man, once they got that first turnover touchdown to start the game off, it gave them hope. And that's the worst thing you can do to an underdog. You give them hope. You give them that little just glimpse of confidence. And now watch them, man. You look at how they walk on the field. You look at, man, when they're tackling guys or catching the ball, they're getting up with the swagger about them. And it all started because of that beginning with hope, just giving them that little ounce. And now we're in a dogfight. Now we're over here trying to see, can we put together, some successful plays in this second half to ultimately get us out of this situation. Oh, and Jonathan, why isn't Dotson starting? It's a weird scenario in terms of Dotson is definitely a key player on that offensive line and should be out there. Filer is a good player as well this year and also is a veteran. The problem is they both should be on the field at the same time right now, but they weren't going to do that, obviously, because they wanted to keep DeCastro out there, right, wrong, or indifferent. So in turn, they went with the veteran, the guy that they've been more comfortable with because it's a big game. It's a playoff game. Now, granted, he's gotten his name called twice, and if you look at both of the plays, I definitely didn't like the holding call. I thought that was a good job by him blocking, extending the play. And then the illegal man downfield, we saw, the commentator broke it down. It was an RPO, and Ben just held it a lot longer than any of those guys expect. That's why Pounce was right next to him. But it's just one of those scenarios, man, where the coaches, you never know how younger players are going to react in these type of games. So you lean on your veteran guys, and ultimately that's what Coach Tomlin did. Now, obviously, hindsight 2020, we can make our debates on it and critique it, but that was the thought process behind it. Yeah, Renato, I did see that Alex Highsmith went out. That's why Cassius Marsh has been in for a large portion of what that second quarter, and now obviously in the third quarter here. I'm not sure what happened to Highsmith, so if anyone finds out, man, put it in the comments. Let me know so we can go ahead and chat that thing up. And also, while we're in here talking, shout out to my, you see the shirt, first preview live on someone. Fits nice. Also got the link at the top of the chat, man. And remember what we said too, man. Proceeds of that, man, we're definitely donating to the Pittsburgh community, making a difference. So not only would you be supporting the show and your favorite too, Moats, Deke, but you also be making an impact in the community, man. So it's the double whammy, baby. Yes, indeed. And for all of the first time, people up here, you never heard of us, man, welcome to the party. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we do this a lot. We also do live film sessions. And obviously, if you go to the channel, Arthur Moats 55 on YouTube, man, you'll see all the other videos there. It's a ton of content. The people will let you know. All right, so all the new people out there, I hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. All right. Let's get back to these questions. Working man, tell Deke Ben has to go. Oh no, we not there right now, right? Listen. It's still a lot of football left. That's the beauty of it, right? And we also know that this game has gotten where it's gotten more so because of the self-inflicted issues from the Steelers, less about the Browns necessarily putting together a ton of successful drives. So I'm not there yet on the whole Ben is over. No, because we know he can get hot. And if he gets hot, we know what that can do. But right now, we're going to need it. We won't have a lot of time to wait, baby. Hey, football mixtapes. What up, baby? Hey, and Cliff Nick Pope. Shout out to you, man. Buffalo fan joining the group, man. Hey, major respect and shout out to y'all too, man. That was a big time win yesterday. Everybody that knows me, man, started my career in Buffalo, so I was definitely happy to see that, man. But I need these Steelers to take care of business so we can get that Moats team rematch going on. I need that. I want that. It's a lot of fun. But we got to handle this business here first, baby. Yes, indeed. Man, all right, so I'm seeing some questions too pop up about Deshaun Watson. Listen, if he's available, of course. I mean, he's one of those guys you build franchises around. It's a reason the Texans aren't, in a hurry to get rid of him, and they're going to make sure if they do move him that they get a ton of compensation for him. Number one, he's a young quarterback. Number two, he's a top 5 quarterback. And number three, he's under contract for the next 4 years since he just signed his deal this offseason. So to get him, it would take a lot of assets. We're talking a combination of multiple draft picks, maybe even a player or two in there, because this is a franchise quarterback. Just think back if Ben, after 4 years in the league, if the Steelers were going to trade him for somebody, which you would want for him, same scenario with Deshaun Watson. So as much as I would love for him to make it here, I just personally don't see it happening because we would have to give up a ton. And that's not the Steelers' MO. The Steelers would much rather draft a guy and work their way that way, man. Get a guy that they can mold from the beginning versus a guy who's already been in the league and, has already created their own little culture and vibe about themselves. Oh no, but hey man, I'm with you. Deshaun is definitely worth it. Trust me. And you saw right now, I think the two teams they're talking about, they said potentially, he said that he would waive his no trade clause only in a deal to Miami. Now, I understand why, because it would make perfect sense. He goes to Miami. That's a young core. They obviously have a young coach. Should have been in the playoffs this year. Obviously, they didn't get the job done at the end of the year. But seeing how the Dolphins kind of handled Tua as well, the flip-flopping between him and Fitzpatrick, you could potentially sense that they're not 100% sold on him, just, based on what we saw. And for the Dolphins, it's like, man, this is Deshaun Watson. You wouldn't have to worry about your franchise quarterback. That would be done, and now you can legit contend in that AFC East. So I can understand that from his angle. And then also for the Texans, I can understand them wanting a guy like Tua because he's young. You're obviously going to have the new GM in Houston as well, so everything would kind of go into there. But I just don't think that we would be able to make something like that happen because we don't have the assets. Or put it like this, we have the assets. I don't think we would want to give up those assets, though. And that's the dilemma that we're in right now. Mm-mm-mm. All right, Michael Malley. It looks like you're. Oh, excuse me, Michael O'Malley. All right. So you with Mason? Okay, Mason will take over people. Okay. Oh man, you don't think Watson is good though? See, so I am a little bit more open to seeing more Mason going forward because of what we saw from him last week. But if it's an option between Mason Rudolph and Deshaun Watson, for me, I'm going Deshaun Watson. It's nothing against Mason, but Deshaun is Deshaun for a reason, man. He is a highly productive player, and he's been doing it with not a lot of help this year, especially, man, when you look at them getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins the way that they did. So that's my only thing, man. If he could come here, man, it would be awesome, but I just don't think it's happening. Hey, Victor, shout out to you, Victor, man. So Victor says he feels that we should just go ahead and put the backups in, offense and defense, because the backups did have a lot of success last week. Now, this is the only issue, right? We talked about that narrative last week, and when we look back at it, we said it wasn't the full gamut, though, right? It was still a good amount of starters out there. You think about the receivers; all of those guys were out there. Outside of Pouncey and I think the Castro, the rest of the old line was there. Yeah, just as a whole, it wasn't like it was anything drastically different. I think the biggest part was the quarterback was different, and then defensively you had some different pieces missing. No TJ, no Cam. But to me, they just got to protect the ball. They've been able to move the ball when they have got the snap right. when they've made the right pass, when they've caught the ball the right way, right? They've moved the ball on this team. It's not like the Browns are just overwhelming them. The problem is they haven't been consistent. The problem is the things that we've talked about multiple times with them this year, the drops, right? We saw Ebron have a couple of drops as well. Those things are popping back up. And when it's the playoffs, when it's do or die, this is literally backs against the wall. It's a different sense of urgency that comes with playoff games. And it just looked like, man, we came out a little bit flat. That's it's crazy, man. But I don't feel like it would have been different. I don't think it's a difference, though, outside of Mason instead of Ben for this roster right now. Because, like I said, offensively, a lot of those same guys were out there last week. Hey, Grant, you're absolutely right. If the Texans still had Bill O'Brien, man, we could trade a fifth rounder and a conditional seventh rounder to get Deshaun Watson, man. Jeez. But unfortunately, they have relieved him of his duties. Now, we're seeing right now, right? A little bit more success, right? The offense starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. And we said rhythm is key, especially with Ben. That's been the big knock with him this year. When he started slow, in terms of just the offense not getting the productivity that we want, it was more so the rhythm of it, the timing of it. When you're throwing the ball as much as they're throwing, everybody has to be in sync, right? Second half, now they're a lot more warmed up to this thing. But the problem is you spotted this team 35 points. So now you have to work with a little bit more urgency than what we're seeing right now. But as a whole, this is a good drive. I'm really liking what I'm seeing right now. Obviously, this is our bread and butter, right? This is what has got us to the dance. We're not a team that's going to come here and all of a sudden, all right, we're going to have this big, just lavish run game. That's not who we are right now. So you go to, what got us here? Seven slinging this rock around. As long as he can keep doing this thing at a high level, being consistent, we'll be fine. Receivers got to catch the ball, but we'll be fine because as a whole, like I said, the Browns in the first half, three of the possessions that they scored on, they started out in the in positive territory for them. So it was set up for them to be successful right there. Y'all see me, right? Yeah, I'm stalling. I'm stalling. Everybody get a chance. Everybody get a chance. I'm stalling. I'm waiting for you. Tutty. That's why you keep the hat on. Because you never know, baby. You never know. We got action now. We have action. Now, we're about to go for this 2 right here. Got to get it. But this is huge right here. This is huge, man. Because the more you cut this into that 2-score, 3-score level, now the Browns are going to feel a little bit more pressure to convert. When you're up 4 scores the way they were, man, you don't feel the same sense of urgency. You feel like, man, I got time. Like, we can still play a little bit softer. We don't have to do everything like that. But still scoring the way they did changes things a little bit. Man, all right. Just trying to see if we're going to get a flag on that or anything. Let's go. But like I said, man, this is huge. So now you cut it. Now we got 2-score game here. This is big because now for the Browns, they're going to have to come out and get some type of successful drive. If they go 3 and out, now they're going to be, trending towards that dangerous level because that's how we heat up. We saw this last week, we saw this 2 weeks ago with the Colts game as well. All it takes is touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, whole different ball game. All right. So if you thought we weren't going to get a dramatic, exciting super wild card playoff matchup, come on, baby. This is Pittsburgh. You know how we do this thing. We never give you the easy game where you can just sit back in your zen and be woo-sign. No. We want to stress you out. That's our job, all right? That is, when we sign our contracts, the fine print says, make Steeler Nation have multiple heart attacks through every game, but win. So that's all they're doing right now. That's all they're doing, baby. Man, yeah, so I'm seeing some questions also about 49, Cassius Marsh. Um, Man, in terms of some of the things they could do to help him with setting that edge, a little bit of background on Cassius Marsh. He is more so, he's built to rush the passer. I want to say he was drafted by Seattle, was out there for a couple of years. spent a year. I don't know if he got a full season, but he was in New England for a little bit, and then also with the Niners. Like I said, he's built for rushing the passer, not really the most stout in terms of run game, as we already have seen. Something that they could do potentially. I mean, honestly, when you talk about the edge of the defense, it's hard to, without compromising everything else, it's hard to fix that part, right? For me, you can call calls where the safety is always down to his side. We're talking about Terrell Edmonds. They do have packages like that where you will make it where this guy is always spilling he's always going to spill blocks, right? Meaning he's going to go inside or underneath a block instead of trying to stay outside and hit the guy and meet him force with force, like we kind of saw him get on the losing end of, right? So you can do things like that. The problem is when you start trying to make these one-off or specializations for one player on the defense, it puts a bind. It puts everyone else in a bind, and it adds a lot more stress, especially to that secondary. So that's the only reason I'm not a fan of doing something like that. I really need to see if Highsmith is going to be back out there, because Highsmith had been playing well, especially these past couple of games. So I would have liked to have seen him get some more, action, because he's a lot more stouter in the run. But right now, it's rough. Let's see. And he has an ankle and is doubtful to return, along with Mike Hilton, who is questionable to return with the ankle. Shout out to my wife too. She's my little, what do you call it? Injury report updater. Big time shout out. So that's not good. All right, that is not good. Well, yeah. So we're seeing Ola as well, right? So he could potentially get some opportunities, because the thing is this with Ola. The biggest problem with Ola is he's still playing a little bit too hungry for sacks versus just letting the game come to him. But it's normal. It happens when you're a young player, when you're a part of a rotation. You don't necessarily know when you're going to get another opportunity or an extended opportunity. You start pressing. You start trying to make a play too much. And sometimes you do it without maintaining the integrity of the defense. And Coach Butler and Mike Tomlin, unless you're TJ Watt or Troy Polamalu, they don't want you touching the integrity of the defense. They talk about that a lot. Hey, you can take an inside rush only if the call is meant for you to do that. You rush outside unless the call is meant. That's how they operate. So that's one of the things with Ola, and that's kind of why we haven't seen a lot of him either. Hey, Hugh Mungo, man, trust me. Like I said, no coming out of retirement. This is about all I want right here. I get to wear my nice clothes, got my hat, talking with y'all. I will say this, though. I'll be fully transparent. I was down there, obviously doing some of the pregame media stuff right in Hinesville. And as I was driving in, I did start to feel it, right? I was like, whew. It was a little cold. I was like, man, all right. Waving it to the people. All right, I see my guy over here. Go ahead, ball out, do what you do. I saw the players start walking to the locker room. I hit the elevator. I went upstairs to the media booth. I couldn't do it, bro. I'm sorry. I thought about it. I was like, nah, that's just the thought of my shoulder. They hitting hard out here. I don't want them problems, man. Come on, baby. Don't do that to me. Man, oh, man. But now we're seeing, right? Big time in terms of working in concert, right? This is what we always talk about. This is Coach Tomlin always preaches. Offense give you something productive. Defense, you got to give me something productive and quick so that we can get right off that field, get the offense right back out there, man. When you work in concert like that, that is huge. We saw how this has worked multiple times for the Steelers. Got to get a touchdown. That's what we need. Points again. If you can get a touchdown right here, man, the Browns will definitely start to be looking around, and I do feel that they will fold if it's tight going into the fourth quarter. But we got to capitalize offensively. That's the biggest thing. We got to do our part. Cam, nah, man, no fitted for no pads. I'm fitted for t-shirts and hats. That's it, man. That's all I want. I don't want any physicality right now, man. I'm fragile. All right, fragile. Handle me with care, okay? Hey, Brian. Hey, man, I'm with you though. In terms of signing Cam Sutton and Mike Hilton, I do think both of those guys. I was kind of torn early on in the year and obviously during the offseason because we all felt like we had to pick one. It was one or the other. But I feel like you find a way to keep both of those guys. I do think Mike Hilton's market will be a little bit more robust solely because he's had a lot more opportunities to be productive, right? He's shown he's very specialized in terms of his blitzing, in terms of his run support. Now, obviously, the coverage end, that's not what he does best, but he still can do enough there. Now, the difference is with Cam Sutton, Cam is going to be in a different kind of conversation because obviously he's more of the cover guy, but he's shown flexibility. Now, he's shown that he could play inside as a slot guy and outside as a premier corner type. Think of like your Steven Nelson's. Not saying that he's on that level, but just saying in terms of being an outside corner. So his market is going to be unique in terms of how teams view him. Are they viewing him as a guy that they're paying to be an outside starter? Because that's going to be a lot more. Or are they paying him to be a slot corner, a slot starter, or a part of that tandem? And if that's the case, then his market is going to be a lot less. So that's going to be the most interesting part in terms of how they handle both of those guys. I know Mike Hilton will be unrestricted. I got to check on the details with Cam Sutton in terms of will he be restricted or not, because that could dictate a lot as well. Man, in terms of Juju's future, it's rough in terms of determining that. I feel like he's, what's his market right now? I think if he hits the market in terms of hitting free agency, there will be a team that has a ton of money that will overpay him, right? Will pay him as if he's a bona fide number one. I personally think that he is a high end number two, which is great, but I don't think that you pay him to be your number one guy. I think that he needs to have another piece or two around him. Whereas when you think of your number one receivers, the guys we always go back to are the usual suspects, right? Your Michael Thomases, your ABs, your Julios, your DeAndre Hopkins. It doesn't matter who's around them. They're going to produce to that level. So if he's looking to get paid like that, he'll hit the market and he'll obviously be compensated that way. But if he will take less, then I do think the Steelers will retain him because number one, his relationship with Ben, right? You see their rapport on the field. Ben loves to go to him in situational downs, third downs, fourth downs, gotta have it downs. That's who he's looking to, right? So understanding that rapport, they're gonna want to keep that together, especially if they plan on keeping Ben next year. Now, obviously, he has the big. It's 1 year left on the deal. It'll be a cap hit of $41 million. So they're gonna have decisions to make in terms of if they let him play under that, if they extend him, whatever they decide. That's going to dictate also Juju and what they can give him and things like that as well. So he's going to be an interesting person, though, because, like I said, he has productivity like a number one, but when he's had the opportunities to be a number one, he hasn't produced the same way. So that's going to be the real questionable thing. Whew. And speaking of questionable, let me breathe real quick because, the ones that are on pace with me, y'all saw what just happened. Whew. That could have been bad. Could have been real bad. Glad it wasn't, though. Now, listen, I understand we would love to keep Bud, but there's zero chance of that happening unless we do a mass exodus of higher paid players on this team. I don't see us doing that. It's just there isn't going to be a way for them to pay Bud when they got to pay TJ what they got to pay TJ. You have to remember Cam signed his extension. Tua is still, he's to the heavier part of his deal in terms of the money and the cap ramifications with that. Vince as well. It's a lot of people that are going to be eating up cap along with new guys. Like I said, you still got to, like I said, you're going to take care of TJ, but you got to decide on Juju. You got to decide with James Conner. You have to decide what you're going to do with Ben. It's a lot of pieces moving around, and that still doesn't even address guys on the offensive line in terms of Al. What are you doing with Big Al? Also, Matt Fowler, he'll be a free agent after this. What are you going to do with him? So it's a lot of other pieces that they're going to have to take care of, and I just don't see them being able to pay Bud what his market is going to be. Bud has played himself into a crazy contract, and he's earned it, and rightfully so. But he's definitely priced himself out of the Steelers market. I just don't see it happening. Hey, Richie, shout out to I forgot I got short, so yes, you can't see my quads, and appreciate the compliment, man. In terms of the most that I've ever squatted, trying to think, the last time I maxed out was junior year of, well, actually, junior summer of college, and let's see, I did 535 squat. Yeah, that was me. Yeah. 535 squat, 450 no, 465 bench, and then 355 on the hang clean. Yeah, but like I said, that was junior year, summer, going into my senior year of college, and from there, it was more so after that. When you work out, you push yourself, but you're not gonna do anything that you have to strain or potentially max out like that, because it's just not worth it at this level, because you could tear something, anything can happen. But those were my numbers. It was good times. Good times. Ah, miscommunication. Come on, baby. Come on. That's the big thing we got to get right. Keep the communication going the way it's supposed to go. But I'm liking what I'm seeing right now, man. These are two solid drives right here, man. All right, just got to keep it playing, keep doing what we're doing. Biggest thing is no turnovers, right? That's the biggest difference between first half and second half right now. First half, you spotted them, like I said, 3 drives across midfield based on your errors. Whereas now, we're making them have to work. Now, we've seen that, hey, it's hard for them to move the ball on this defense. And we've also seen that, hey, these injuries that they've had, the COVID people that they've had in terms of the secondary, Denzel Ward not being out there, yeah, now we can take advantage of that. They can't hold up for 4 quarters, and that's been the biggest thing that we talked about, right? So, gotta keep seeing it come to fruition, though, right? Gotta keep taking advantage of it. That's the biggest thing. It's only a mismatch if you make it a mismatch. We can talk about it and say what it is on paper, but it's not a mismatch until you go out there and make it one. And hopefully we'll see it. Hopefully, like I said, it's starting to teeter where we're getting a little cooking. But I don't know. We're going to have to see it. But I will say this. The Browns have showed a ton more respect from a coverage standpoint this week than last week. What they're doing this game, they're playing the long ball, right? They're saying we're going to let you dink and dunk us to death. You'll eat a ton of clock up, and we'll play the long game in terms of, I don't think they anticipated being up by this much. There's no way they could have, but they were going to play this game of make you dink and dunk 10, 12-yard drives, beat us that way, versus what we saw from Mason last week with them taking shots over top. We're seeing a lot more cover too, right? Rerouting underneath, and then you have a safety help over top compared to last week. Man, we did a breakdown. We showed it, right? They would have man-to-man on the backside and just allow those guys to just go to work one-on-one. It was recipe for disaster, and it showed. This week, they are not messing with that at all. I've been trying to see if Benton's going to get that look so he can take advantage of it, but they're just strictly giving him a ton of cover 2, cover 4. They're protecting those guys deep, man. And smart by them. Oh, man. And let's see what we got in here, these questions. Let's see what we got. Still some miscommunication I'm seeing, though. Jeez. Hey, and Claypool definitely almost had it. I don't know who the miscommunication was on that first play, though, man, but the out and up, man, it was beautiful, right? That should have been a touchdown, man. But once they get back on the same page across the board, they're fine. Because, like I said, the Browns, they know they can't hold up for 4 quarters against these receivers, man. Come on, baby. Come on. Hey, so John Batista, absolutely you could settle for a field goal if you needed to. Because the biggest thing is this. Right now, all points help out, right? But what you can't do is turn the ball over. What you can't do is leave out of here with 0 points. That's the biggest thing. Them sitting at, I think, what, the 5-yard line right now? Or, excuse me, 6-yard line? I personally don't. I personally want to go for it. I'm kicking the field goal because right now the defense has been playing hot. This is the second drive consecutively from the offense that they've been able to move the ball. You don't want to, but hey, here we go, man. This is the issue right here, right? If you get it, great. But if you don't, you're going to give this Browns team a lot of momentum. Now, granted, they're going to have to be backed up, but still, this is dicey. But I like it, though. Coach T playing to win. That's what you got to do, right? There we go. It worked. It definitely worked. There we go, man. That's huge. And now you see the Browns players, right? Starting to hang their heads a little bit. Starting to get, they feel that now. This is different. This is a different type of pressure for those guys because they're not accustomed to being in these type of series, these bigger games like this. They're not accustomed to, number one, when you get a lead, but also now that that lead has been cut down a lot and you feel how tight of a matchup this is, that's a different level of pressure. And Pittsburgh, man, we're accustomed to it. You think about how many games the Steelers have like this, right? Versus top teams versus not so good teams. Either way, they're accustomed to doing these type of things. Now you got a scenario where the Browns are going to have to respond. How do they do that? I'm not sure. I'm going to be really excited to see, though, because right now they're definitely on the ropes, man. They're definitely on the ropes. This is really solid in terms of those two drives, back-to-back touchdowns. Huge. That's how you want to start the half. And that's what we said. Before we make a switch to Mason, I need at least 2 drives coming out of half because we know when Ben gets in rhythm, this is what he can do. Hey, all right. That's the beauty, right? Shout out to the chat. If Juju doesn't catch that or Juju doesn't score that touchdown, we back and forth in terms of do you want to sign him or not. Scores that touchdown, big momentum play, pay the man, pay the man, pay the man. Gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. But yeah, like I said, man, if you could get him and it's affordable, it's at the right price, absolutely. But I don't think you overpay for him. Not with Claypool still under contract for the next 4 years. Deontay under contract for the next, 2 years after this year, obviously. And then James Washington still having a year left on his deal as well. That's my only thing. You can't overpay with that much young talent in that room. But, man, that was huge. Huge play by Juju, man. And you're right, man. He's over-reliable, baby. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hey, Luke, shout out to you, man. See, I didn't want to say that, when I started streaming and I put the hat on, then started turning our favor. Hey. But I appreciate you, though, man. I definitely appreciate it. It's a second half thing, man. It's because if you do it, in the first half and you do it for the whole game, you just never know how that thing will play out. This is emergencies. You feel me? We get on here, second halves, gotta have it. When we get on, we bring that good mojo. It's not just me, it's y'all as well. It's y'all as well. Hey, this don't work without y'all. You feel me? So this is why the mojo is flowing. This is why we got this thing rolling. And that's why the team is feeling the way they're feeling right now, all right? It's all of us. We got to keep it going, baby, all right? Keep it going. Yes, indeed. Hey, Emilio, man, nah, you got the juice, baby. I appreciate you, though, man. Yes, indeed. Oh, we got some Panama in there. All right, shout out to you, Rolando, over in Panama. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Uh-oh. Hey, Jai K, you better be careful now. If we win, shave our eyebrow. I'm not shaving eyebrows, baby. That's a deep thing. I don't mess with those type of bets. Nah, not me. But I think you should though. I think you should shave that eyebrow. The left one too. Yeah, shave that left eyebrow once we get this dub. Yeah, I would like that a lot. But it doesn't count if you don't post a picture of it. So we would have to see it as well. But I would definitely share it. I'm telling you, man, we would talk about this thing. We would love you for it. You would be legendary for it, all right? So just consider that eyebrow, all right? Just Yes, it did. Hey, Vikesh, man, shout out to you from Houston, man. What's good? Welcome to the party, baby. Yes, indeed. Hey, we got Peter out in Canada. Shout out to Canada, eh? Hey, Jarrell, man, you don't got to shake, baby. You gotta let it flow. Let it flow. This is what we want. We are built for these high-pressure situations. The Browns aren't. This was one of those perfect scenarios in that first half. They obviously got the big lead, and that's the only thing that's saving them right now, but it's a ton of time left in this game, and they're going to have to make a play. 35, I don't personally feel is going to be enough today. They're going to have to find a way to get more points. And right now, the way the defense is playing, it looks like they've shored up that run game a lot. So keep this thing going, man. But yeah, the Browns are in trouble right now. If they don't get something, especially on this drive, they're in trouble. We've seen this story. Trust me, and I love it. All right, Mitchell from Ohio. I like it when you're in enemy territory. Or hopefully you're in enemy territory. That's not your, you're not a Browns person. I mean, you could be a Browns person if you are. It's all love either way, baby. But I hope you're a Steelers fan just happen to be in Ohio. That's what I'm hoping. A small Ben 7. I don't want to say same old Browns. I ain't going there. I'm not. But it is a difference in terms of their inexperience come playoffs. That is invaluable. It's certain things that it's hard to describe, but it's just a different level of energy. It's a different level of focus that comes to playing in the playoffs, man. This is literally win or go home. There is no tomorrow. So you're going to get their best. We're supposed to be playing our best, and obviously we've heated up a lot in this second half, but it's different. And I don't know how they're going to handle that right now. And right now they're struggling handling it. If I'm telling you, the Steelers come down here and get another touchdown or even a field goal right here, the Browns are going to fall. It just is what it is right now, man. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. That's huge, though. That's huge. Momentum, baby. Shout out to the big Mo. All right, so we need to know now. I need to know. How many of y'all thought it was over at halftime? How many of y'all thought it was done? If there's one of you, please just let me know. Let me know. But I say, cause man, it was definitely, you know, the vibe wasn't where it needed to be going into halftime. The vibe is good now, but woo, wait, whew, this is beautiful right here. I'm loving seeing them get nervous. I'm loving seeing them tighten up a little bit. And the flip side is what we playing super loose now, man. We got a groove going on. But yeah. Hey, listen, don't be scared to hope. Oh, who said that? Let me get that. That thing popped up here super fast. But yeah, man, you don't need to be scared of hope. Trust me, man. The Steelers are built for these type of scenarios, and they have the leadership with them, both as players and coaching staff. That these guys have been in so many tight situations like this that they are comfortable here. They become comfortable in the uncomfortable. That's something that Coach Tomlin always talks about, right? He always talks about never allowing the moment to become too big for you. You just got to be normal. You just have to just, icing your veins throughout whatever scenario it is, however bad it might look. Just know that, man, we got this. We're prepared for this. We're talented enough for this. And you can see that belief showing up, especially, like I said, in the second half. Hey. I gave y'all hope. All right, shout out. I see some sweaty game. Okay, McDave. Yeah, boy, Willie. All right, hey, Steven. I'm glad that y'all were able to be real with me, man. All right, I'll tell y'all the truth. I wasn't nervous, but I was nervous. Not nervous. It wasn't like, oh man, sky's falling, but it was a little bit of a, man, we're gonna need something quick. Now it's changed a lot, obviously, like I said, since Ben and this office has been able to come out and do what they've done. But whew, early on, man, oh man, I didn't know if this thing was gonna change for us, but glad it did. Super glad it did. Hey, Juice Box 32. Yes, I know. Sometimes y'all can be a little fickle. It happens. But that's what makes it beautiful. Listen, how can you think about what fan stands for? It's short for fanatical, right? You can't be a fanatic of something if you're not gonna go all the way there in one moment and then come all the way back in the next. That's normal, baby. I need that. So I appreciate it. I'm just glad y'all honest about it. Hey, Rolando, man, I appreciate you, man. I try to bring the good luck, man. I try to, bring that positivity because we need it, right? If I got up here and I'm like, hey, man, go ahead and take this hat off. It's over. No, we can't do that, man. Y'all want it like that? But for me, I think also sometimes I'm too hopeful. And that's the player in me, right? As a player, you always believe if there's time on that clock, there is a way. You always feel that, man, when you look around and there's certain players on your team that you've been to battles with and come out on top, you're like, if he's on the team, we got a chance. And that's what you see with this Steelers team. So that's why a lot of times for me, when I'm always talking about, man, even though it's multiple things that they're doing wrong, why I still feel optimistic about them, it's because of that. It's because I've seen some of these situations. I've lived some of these situations with those various guys, and we've been able to come out on top. So, yeah, why change now, baby? Why change now? In fact, I love it more now because I don't have to do any other work. I get to just enjoy it. In the past, when you're out there, it's different. You gotta, all right, man, bite down, man. It's gonna hurt. We're gonna do what we gotta do. It's gonna probably take some years off my life, but it's worth it in the end. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Mm-mm-mm. Now, listen, in terms of them punting that ball, I just personally felt like because of how well the offense and defense is played right now, don't do anything to create negativity for yourself, right? Matter of fact, anyone that watched that Bills and Colts game yesterday, the Colts, they moved the ball a couple of times, right? Got into the red zone, and then they would find ways to kind of shoot themselves in the foot and end up with no points because they're doing bonehead things. Right here, even though they're not in scoring range or nothing like that, smart move, punt the ball, put your defense back out there. You've already forced what, 2 3-and-outs back to back, or excuse me, a 4-and-out and then a 3-and-out. Yeah, you rely on that defense. You say, hey, Baker's gonna make a mistake. He almost threw a pick six. To me, I just think that's the right move. All right, here we go now. Let's see what we're gonna decide. Let's see. Yeah, that's the move. That's definitely the move, man. Like I said, you just don't want to give them any type of momentum. Think about everything that they did in that first half was based on what? Our issues. Self-inflicted. The snap. The interceptions. That was on us. Nothing that they were doing. So don't do anything right now to put them in a position to get the ball on a short field because we've seen them be able to have success with that. Yeah. Take the delay of game, move the ball back, kick the ball. That's what you do, man. That is what you do. Absolutely. This has got to be what you do. Hey, in terms of let's see what we had. Oh, hey, Grant, absolutely, man. Shout out to Tucker, man. Your sweet 16 today, man. Big time. Happy birthday. Hope you're enjoying your birthday. Hopefully, still get this dub for you on your birthday as well, man. So, yes, indeed. Happy 16th birthday to you. Yeah, so Mitchell, man, that was just a ton of window dressing. In terms of Danny Smith, when he's gonna do fake punts and stuff like that, he doesn't like a ton of the all right, shift this group, motion that group there. If he's gonna do it, he wants it to be quick, not a lot of moving pieces. That's just his MO. But what they were doing right there, man, just a ton of window dressing. If you can get them to jump off sides, you get it. But the biggest thing was just get a little bit more room so they can punt that ball the way they just did right there. I see you good. I see you. Yes, we would have. Hey, we would have all loved it though if they would have went for it and got it. Yes, but then we also would have been losing our minds if they go for it and they did not get it, and then they get the ball on the 40-yard line. That day, we would have lost our mind. Yes, yes, without a doubt. Hey Jay, you're absolutely right though. In terms of that bad snap, that changed the outlook in terms of giving them the hope and ultimately getting them the momentum that they needed. But now you've seen us execute at a high level in the second half. I just don't think that they're going to be able to continue to execute like the way they need to for this whole fourth quarter. There's a ton of time on the clock. This game reminds me honestly of their game earlier this year when they played the Cowboys. Remember, they were up big. I think it was 40 something to 10 or 17 going into that late in the third quarter. And then the Cowboys just got crazy and started coming back. And it literally took a crazy Odell Beckham Jr. reverse touchdown, like from 50 yards out to seal the game for them. So they don't have a lot of confidence in these type of scenarios. They even got, I want to say it was the Titans game as well. They had got a big on them, and then the Titans started to come back as well. So this team has been a little bit susceptible once they've gotten a big lead of allowing teams to come back. All right. Come on, baby. Come on. Oh, we got a little spam action going on. Got to get rid of that. Hold on. Oh. Ah, come on, man. We got to get better at this, man. Jeez. Come on, baby. Come on. No hope. Do not allow them hope. Come on, baby. All right, now here we go, baby. Here we go. Now their response, right? Starting to work on Jarvis, finding him short to intermediate, giving him some very catchable balls. Is also protecting their offensive line, right? We talked about some of the injuries that they've obviously had and the people that they don't have in place. The way you combat that, start getting this ball out a little sooner. These are quicker routes, not a lot going into it in terms of the read for Baker. It's on schedule, right? But they're doing this also because the Steelers are in their base personnel as well. So that helps them knowing that you're going to get some very favorable matchups because obviously once you get any type of play action or run action, your linebackers are going to be coming up. So that's been their adjustment in this start of the fourth quarter. So now we'll see what's going to be Coach Thomas' rebuttal to that, right? How does he and Keith Butler adjust to this new adjustment by them? It's the cat and mouse game. You got to love it, man. And in terms of Spillane getting matched up on Landry, it's one of those things, man. It is one of those things where sometimes with the way this defense is set up, you get walked out there sometimes on those guys. Oh, all right. I can't even do it. I was trying to give you the whole let me talk through this thing and bluff it out. I'm sick right now. Sick. What in the? Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. Okay. Man, that was money though. So same thing we talked about though last week coming in when we said we reviewed it. We said some of the things that we wanted to see a little bit better was the tackling, right? That right there. Number one, it was a good call. I like them in terms of using our aggressiveness against ourselves. They know we love to blitz our inside linebackers. They know we love to blitz them because that keeps them out of coverage. So what do? You see the blitz. You got the screen call weak. Great call, great timing. The next problem was this though. In terms of just, I think it was Mike Hilton and Vince Williams right there. You got to make the tackle. You make the tackle, you live to fight another play. It is not the end of the world. You miss that tackle, now you get that type of result. That's the biggest thing, man. You can't allow these guys that type of stuff to happen, right? In terms of even with them having success right there, they were still in position to get the stops. They were still in position to make these plays. You just got to make them. It wasn't even as if you put a move on them or anything like that. That's self-inflicted, though. That's the frustrating part. Nick Chubb is a really good back end. Obviously, he's getting the accolades that he deserves. But there's no reason that he should have ran through both of those guys on that tackle right there. That's bad ball. But the beauty is this, though. There is always time. Now, you got to operate with a lot more urgency, right? Because now the work that you just did in terms of the 2 stops to 2 scores, now it's as if you only did one of those because they were able to just score to match that. So you can't allow this to become a shootout. It's already technically a shootout, but in this fourth quarter, you can't do the whole back and forth trading scores thing. With you down multiple scores, you're going to have to score quick, turnover, or 3 and out, and then score quick again to get you back in position. But they're definitely running out of time right now, man. That was a huge drive by them Browns and huge touchdown right there. Huge touchdown. But yeah, now back to in terms of some of these linebackers on receivers, though, the biggest reason that happens is because in Pittsburgh, we talk about that matchup zone that we love to play, right? It's a gift and a curse. If you play just traditional zone coverages, you always hear them talk about, man, this quarterback is picking the soft spots. This receiver is sitting out in the soft spots in the zone. You can play cover 4. You can play cover 6, just like cover 3 in terms of true zone coverage for the linebackers. The problem is you're going to have a ton of holes in terms of where receivers can sit down at. So in Pittsburgh, we match up our zone concepts because we feel if we match up, that gives your rush a lot more time to get there. And this is Blitzburg, right? We talk about how great the rush has been, whether you're blitzing or just your front four. It's because of the matching up on the back end. It's more challenging from a throwing standpoint. The problem is, though, when you're running a 3-4, which we do here in Pittsburgh, you're going to have more linebackers on these wide receivers. You're going to get those type of matchups every once in a while. And this is a division opponent, so they know how to scheme up some of that stuff as well. But that's the biggest reason why you see a ton of linebackers on receivers, not only this game, but throughout the year. I mean, we've seen it multiple times now where these scenarios happen. That's the nastiness of being more of a matchup type defense versus a traditional zone defense. And John Batista, you're right, man. The rush hasn't been there tonight. That's what you run into, right? If you're gonna play this matchup style zone, you have to have the pressure getting created, whether you're creating that pressure through your front four or if you're blitzing someone. But when you aren't able to, consistently generate pressure, then yeah, these guys are gonna get, put out there in some of these situations, and it can get bad at times. But man, this was good by them, man. The timing of it was good. Like I said, you just got to make that tackle. Somehow, some way, you got to make that tackle. But listen, 12 minutes on the clock, multiple score game. You still have time. Like I said, for me, though, I need to see this offense operate with a little, like I said, I like the urgency now. There we go. We got to hurry up because I was about to say, you can't huddle up anymore. I feel like that has to be completely over because of the margin right now. You have to close this deficit fast, baby, fast. And you have to get a touchdown on this drive as well. Hmm. And yeah, man, you're right. If Bud was out there, who said that? Oh, Kevin. Yeah, Bud was out there. Absolutely, man. It would definitely help the rush. But the problem is, he's not coming through that door, and it's looking like Alex Highsmith more than likely isn't going to be back out there either. So now you have this scenario where something that was supposed to be a huge advantage for us has kind of become a weakness right now. Now, hopefully, TJ can step up and make some more plays, Cam as well, but it's going to be very difficult because if you're the Browns, you know two things right now. Number one, I don't have any of my starters the way I want. Excuse me, from an offensive line standpoint, right? You're mix and match right now. I don't want to put those guys in obvious passing situations where they got to just hold up for 4 seconds, maybe longer. I don't want to have those guys in that scenario. And we're up big if you're Cleveland, so you don't have to put those guys in that scenario. If you're Cleveland, you're quick game passing it to Jarvis Landry, and you're running this ball with Nick Chubb until they prove that they can stop it consistently. But you don't allow T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, and Tuitt to provide a game-breaking play. That's the Browns mentality. Now, if you're the Steelers, you're telling yourself, I don't care about any of that. Somehow, some way, you make a play. That has to be your mentality if you're on the Steelers defense and on that Steelers offense. Make a play somehow, some way. It does not matter. But yeah, that clock is ticking though, man. The urgency has to get picked up a lot more. That last touchdown hurt. He said, "Whole team is so weak." Hey, Sandy 949, what up, Kimson? What up? What up? Absolutely, man. You know y'all my peoples, man. I rock with y'all heavy. Appreciate y'all support. Hey, Hyper, let me make sure I say your name right. Hyper 5118. Yes, indeed. You should still have hope. I'm not, like I said, I still have hope. The difference is this: we both have hope, but we also are acknowledging the urgency that needs to be had right now as well. Because that clock is ticking. That's the only issue when you start slow like that. The clock becomes so much of a factor in the second half that even though we've outplayed them in the second half, this deficit has been so large that all it takes is one bad play, right? One bad drive in that second half, and now we're back in the exact same boat we were in coming out of halftime. That's the issue when you start slow like they did today. When you spot teams' points, you have to be perfect in the second half. And right now, they've been close to perfect, but we saw when they had a lapse what it resulted in. Hey, and Jesse, I believe you, man. In terms of major changes coming, if this game, in terms of the Steelers not being, if they don't come back and find a way to win this, without a doubt, it's going to be major changes. Because number one, you think about how the season started, 11-0, and then how it dwindled off, and this team realistically limped into the playoffs, and then you put together this type of performance against a division foe at home as well. Yeah, you would have to send a message, man. You would have to let people know this isn't acceptable, and you would have to correct the issues that have been lingering all year long. I mean, it's not like some of these things that we're seeing tonight haven't been going on. It was just we were winning. We talked about that, right? When you're winning, it kind of covers up things. My man Eli joked about a hole being in the wall, right? Well, when you're winning, you can have that hole. You just put a painting over it and no one knows. But when you start to lose a little bit, now it changes. Okay, okay, okay. Huge. Now we talked about hope, right? We talked about why it still was plenty of time, right? If they could score quick strikes, that was huge in terms of Claypool being able to get this touchdown the way he did. Didn't take a ton of time off the clock. But now, can we get back to that? That's the question. Now, this is the first time in a while that we've seen them go one-on-one or a form of coverage on the outside where those guys are going to have safety hope over top. We weren't seeing that a lot. That's what we saw a lot last week, and Mason was able to take advantage of it. I don't think that they're going to stay in that style of coverage because I personally don't feel that they can hold up on the perimeter. And once again, we've seen them struggle with that. Yeah, if they keep doing this though, this man to man or these very unique where it's isolation or ISO on the backside of these coverage formations, yeah, they're gonna get it's gonna get bad for them in a hurry. That's the only reason I don't see it happening. But right there, we like it, man. We'll take advantage of it. You're gonna give us that coverage, we'll take advantage of it. And yes, in terms of the decision to go for two right here, they're chasing points. It is that simple. If you do the whole analytical route, sure it makes sense to kick the field goal, take the points that you have, but they understand that that extra point that's I mean, will it help? Sure, but they got way bigger issues than worrying about that extra point right now, man. They got to get as many points in a hurry as possible. You try to obviously you get that 2-point conversion, it changes things, right? You'll be sitting at 31. 42-31 is a lot different than 42-30 in terms of just when you're thinking in-game scenarios and stuff like that. But either way, that doesn't make or break this right here, man. They still got to get another stop, still got to get another touchdown. That's the big part. And right now, we got to see how this defense responds. Last time defense was out there, remember the Browns were having success moving the ball with Jarvis Landry, and then they obviously were able to get the touchdown with Chubb. How did the defense handle? How did they handle that? What adjustments will they make? That's what we need to see. Because you cannot allow them to have another long drive. That's what you can't do. Hey, and shout out to Juju too, man. Getting that 100 yards in the playoffs, man. Because this is for him. You got to think. This is his first legit playoff game. I mean, obviously he was on the team in 2017, but I want to say we talked about his stats. It was, 3 catches for 5 yards? He had the touchdown. It was the little shuffle screen play down in the goal line, but man, he didn't really have a big role in that game. Whereas today, man, he's getting an opportunity to show what he can do, and also what he's doing is this: he's making himself some money. He is, because he's showing that hey, I still can produce. I can show up in the playoffs, regardless of the circumstances. I can still make plays happen. He's doing a good job of that, man. And you can see that's what we talked about, the rapport with him and Ben. And that's the only reason why I'm still like, man, I feel like the Steelers will definitely make him an offer. And it will be good. I just don't think it's going to be what his true market will be, though, if he were to go through free agency. Hey, Ian, keep the hope, man. Come on, man. Don't say the defense is going to do anything. The defense is going to get a stop right here. I feel it. You feel it? I even smell it. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, it's your boy Jenkins. Trust me. We are all mad that they're losing. The thing is this. We realize that if we just get mad and talk crazy about them, the mojo gets thrown off. So that's why we got to keep this thing positive. You feel me? That positive energy is what gets these guys to come back. When we start pointing fingers, man, this guy sucked, that guy sucked, it ain't the vibe. You feel me? Just think about this. Feels positive in here, right? We feeling good on this chat. Go to Twitter. I guarantee you it'll put you back on the edge. We don't want to be on the edge, all right? Stay in the good zone. Don't go to the edge. Oh, man, when was Chubb drafted? Trying to think. Was he in the... He was either 18. I want to say he was 18 or 19. Yeah, because this is his third year right now, if I'm remembering correctly. Might not be right, though. Somebody can check it out, though. But yeah, he's been a good player since he's been in the league, though, man. I mean, shoot, I want to say last year, he obviously didn't lead the league in rushing. I think, obviously, it was Derrick Henry, but Chubb was right in that conversation. Chubb was very much productive on the ground last year as well. It's just, yeah, when you're playing in Cleveland, they weren't getting that notoriety, especially later on in the year once the way the season went for them last year. But, you know, he's been a very productive player since getting in the league, man. Oh, man. This is the only when you talk about playing a team that knows you, they know our weaknesses defensively in terms of what we try to do with our linebackers to protect them. We talk about how we blitz them sometimes. We talk about the hug rushing stuff that they do. Ultimately, even if they have you in coverage, when we hug rush, if I have you in coverage, I'm going to blitz you and make it look like I'm blitzing. So that way you have to stay in and protect. So that way I don't have to cover you, right? But Cleveland knows that. So what they just did right there with Kareem Hunt, they said, hey, instead of making him have to sit in there and pass protect, free release him. And now that linebacker who was going to blitz him now has to go play chase and make it a foot race. And as we saw right there, that didn't work out for us defensively. That's a good job by the Browns, though, man. That you talk about playing a team 3 times. We're going to do some things that, you know, we can stress them out with, but it goes both ways. They know some of the things that we do and how to stress us out as well. And that's definitely what I've seen these last 2 drives, especially by the Browns, man. That's been their adjustment. Now, we're going to have to make another adjustment. That's the thing, man. We said the cat and mouse, right? What's our next move? What's the rebuttal to that? They're going to force us to go small ball. Problem is we can't play small ball right now because of the threat of the run. So that's going to be the big dilemma. We're going to have to be able to stand up and cover with some of these bigger body groupings out there. Which is right now why you see TJ Watt walked out on a receiver. You're using base personnel because the success they've had on the ground, and now you're having to match it with some of these exotic wide receiver groupings that they're using as well, man. Smart by them, but we've allowed it to get there, and that's the problem. You talk about self-inflicted. When you allow a team to get up like they did, now they control the personnel groupings. Now they dictate what we can and can't do defensively, and that's a situation or a position you never really want to be in. Yeah, we're going to have to find a way to get a turnover, though, because they have us spread out right now. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, like I said, they're taking advantage of it. Smart by them. But, man, we got to create some type of splash. We need some type of turnover, some type of explosive play defensively because regardless, number one, they can't get any points and they're already pretty much in field goal range. But that's not the whole point. The bigger issue is the clock is ticking. They are eating up some of this clock on this drive, and that hurts us because we're gonna need multiple scores. We're gonna need multiple quick scores as well. So yeah, this is critical right here, man. You got to find a way to get the ball back right here. And as you see defensively as well, we're selling out with some of this, you know, with some of the personnel groupings and some of the blitzing that we're doing as well, and it's risky. This is how you get in that scenario where you can get gashed, where you got, you know, 7, 8 guys down by the line of scrimmage. You make one guy miss, that's a touchdown. So you got to be careful. Got to make sure that everybody is executing the way that they're supposed to execute and doing their job. But they're desperate right now, and they're showing defensively. Yeah, in terms of Spillane being matched up on Landry, that's I mean you see they have to stay bigger body personnel groupings because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have had so much success out the backfield. They've allowed it to get to this, and now, like I said, man, if you go small ball and you put Cam Sutton and obviously Cam Sutton is already out there, but if you go Mike Hilton and then you try to go to a dime package or anything like that, yeah, now they're gonna go and just start running the ball at those smaller defenders as well. So this is the perfect scenario for the Browns. This is a nightmare scenario for us, and that's where they're having the success they're having right here on this drive. This is demoralizing right here. This is one of those drives that, man, they score right here. It could really much, yeah. Start hearing those what's the what they say, the fat lady singing. But hopefully it's not getting there. It's still time. We got to make a play, though. That's the biggest thing. We have to make a play. Hey, and Brian, in terms of talking about playing man, they are now. And when we said it's the matchup zone, right? It's a glorified version of man. They just try to make sure that you have a little bit more safety hope over top. The problem is the personnel group is there. Like I said, we're staying in our bigger body personnel, our base packages, 4 linebackers instead of the small personnel where you have 2 linebackers, and then you obviously have Mike Hilton on the field with those guys. But you can't go that route, like we said, because they haven't been able to successfully stop them on the ground. But yeah, this is rough. I mean, look at this. This is a 10-play drive. It's taking up 5 minutes. That kills you. That kills you. And it sucks because this has been one of our strengths in terms of defensively being able to create turnovers, defensively being able to get off the field. This is bad right here, man. This is really bad. Way too many mistakes, Xavier. Way too many. But you got to find a way to get a turnover. And if not the turnover, block this kick, miss this kick. But they can't get any more points. That's the biggest thing because just mathematically, we are short on time. We're short on time. So mathematically, we have to find something to do, some type of something to make this thing stop. Cause geez, oh man, oh man. Whew. Man, oh man. Good job by Edmonds right there. Whew. But yeah, Rolando, in terms of them coming out rusty, without a doubt. Um, we said, and that was one of the things that I think not only, us here, but just the nation as a whole, you kind of got that 50-50 when it came to Coach Tomlin talking about some of the guys last week sitting out. That whole, you want them to be playing hot coming into the playoffs. You want them having good performances coming into the playoffs. And that wasn't the case. And remember, we talked about, man, should you play all your guys in the game so that way you don't have a slow start like they did today. You don't come out kind of, I don't want to say they were flat, but you don't come out making the mistakes that you made. They weren't flat. I think if anything, they were a little bit too hyped up, right? But they weren't executing. That was the biggest thing. And that does happen when you sit out for a little while, right? When these guys, they took the week off, obviously, last week. I do think that played into this thing, man. It's unfortunate because no one could account for the turnovers that happened as well and how that thing really made it more of a avalanche of a scenario. But as a whole, man, yeah, the rust was real. The rust was definitely real. I mean, the slow start happened, and then you saw once they warmed up in the second half, that third quarter they dominated. Now, obviously, here in this fourth, especially the defense, they've had 2 back-to-back drives now where they weren't good, and that's the part that sucks. But when you spot a team, the points that they spot them, your margin of error is so small. Your margin of error, you have to be perfect, and you still have to have some things go in your favor in order to come back. That's why when you are down that much in the NFL, typically, you don't win a lot of those games. The percentages of coming back are a landslide against you. That's why, because you have to be perfect. Every ball has to bounce your way, and right now we're not getting that. Hey, Coaster, I'm with you, man. I'm sick as well. Like this is crazy, and like I said, it's frustrating because the Browns. Like I said, if it's any other team, you talk any team in the AFC that were in the playoffs this year, you could have been any of those teams, and we're completely fine with it. But because it's the Browns, not only it's the Browns, but it's the Browns minus their head coach and I mean multiple coaches in that staff. That to me is the most disheartening part because we are better than this. We are so much better than this. But in the words of Coach Tomlin, man, you are who you are on film, man. That's your living, breathing resume. So right now, as much as I'm saying that, hey, we're better than this, and I know we can do this and that, right now, that's not the case because we're not seeing it. And it's frustrating, man. It definitely is. Mm-mm-mm. This is crazy. Hey, and James, now, in terms of some of the older players being released, obviously this offseason, I do think that they're going to start looking into some of that stuff because that really hurt them down the stretch. Obviously, you got some younger guys who are coming in, and they did provide a little bit of a spark this year, but it's gonna be a unique situation. But hey, we're not there just yet. As like I said, as bad as this is, there's still time. There's still time, and literally, man, we are well, actually, two quick scores away from it changing a little bit, which we've seen because remember, Chase Claypool did just have that touchdown, right? So, got to come back to that. But this is what happens when you slow start. Slow starts kill you, kill you, kill you. Yes, Steve Brady, it does. It feels like Jacksonville all over again, without a doubt. Without a doubt, man. That's the frustrating part, right? Because in both of those scenarios, man, I mean, the Steelers had the more talented team. The Steelers had the team that came in and should have taken care of business. But in both of those scenarios, very underwhelming in terms of the performance for 4 quarters. It's frustrating. Very frustrating, man. Now, A Money, in terms of why did Coach T punt in that fourth one that everybody's been talking about? Like I said, at that time, you have to remember, we had just scored twice. We had just had 2 stops defensively. So momentum was on our side. You had to feel that, hey, if you take this chance here and it doesn't work out, you effectively kill your all the work you did in that second half. So like I said, I wasn't against Coach Simon Punt. I thought it was a smart decision because of how those possessions had went leading up to that particular situation. Everything was pointing to momentum being on our side, our defense being able to get another stop and get off the field. What we could not anticipate was them making the adjustment that they made in terms of some of the quicker passing attack with Jarvis, and then obviously the missed tackle on the Nick Chubb touchdown. That is what made that whole scenario, when we look back on it in retrospect, making it a terrible decision. But at the time, in real time, I thought that was the right call because of the feel of everything. But that's going to be something that they're going to constantly criticize now. We know that for a fact. Come on, baby. A small Ben 7, man. No, man, don't put it all the way on the defense. You got to think. So for me, I wouldn't say that this is all in the defense because first off, you have to remember 7 of those points did come from an offensive turnover, but also in that first half, the defense was put out there multiple drives, backed up. Multiple drives where they were already at a disadvantage. Now, not saying that that gives them a pass because as a defense, anytime you're on the field, even if it's backed up, we don't care. We say worst case scenario, 3 points. Worst case. So you still don't justify it. I do feel like they were still getting out physical, but the situation that they were put in, I do think it was a compound situation in terms of the short fields that they were delivered on because of the offense's issues that played into it in unison with them being out physical by that Browns team, especially in that first half. Oh, oh boy. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, oh man. Yeah, that one hurts. Oh, all right. Okay. Everybody saw it by now. I was trying to wait. That gutted me. Taki, and that's the leading tackler too. Jeez. Yeah. Looks like Ben didn't see him. He was sitting there. That was a traditional zone coverage too. Looks look like some type of split safety coverage. I need to see it from a potential like a little bird's eye view. But man, yeah, he just didn't see him. Did not see him. I'm thinking it was cover two. I don't know if it was Tampa 2 or not. I would need to have seen if it was a middle runner or not. But the Browns, that's definitely been what they've played a ton this game. They've been heavy Tampa 2, heavy cover 2 because of those type of things, right? You're going to have guys in the alley windows, which the Steelers love to attack. But at the same time, you get hands on the receivers to reroute them, and you have safety help over top. But man, yeah, Ben's got to see it. He got to see it a little bit better. Man, that was a blowout right there. That was huge. Man, but when we did say in terms of how the Browns could win this game, it would have had to been something like this, right? Turnovers. And they're sitting here with 5 turnovers. One turnover was directly related to points as well in terms of that snap. So when you talk about 5 turnovers and one directly resulting in touchdowns or one resulting in points, this is the scenario that you get, man. You're not going to beat NFL teams consistently or playoff teams consistently turning the ball over like that. And that was the thing that was kind of surprising because for the most part this year, the Steelers have been really good in the turnover differential. They do a great job protecting the ball and do a great job of forcing turnovers. But today, man, it's been zero on both sides. Obviously, no turnovers created by this defense and 5 turnovers offensively. That can't happen under any circumstances, man. Wow. But this is going to make it a lot more difficult of a decision when they start discussing Ben this offseason. And obviously, you know, when me and Deke get to talking about it and Deke gets kind of worked up, these are the things, right? We've seen some glimpses, especially of late in the year. We saw glimpses where Ben has looked good that second half against the Colts, right? He looked good that game. But then we've also seen some performances where it hasn't been up for $41 million. And that's the difference. We're not saying that Ben can still be a good quarterback or not. We're talking about him for $41 million. That's the decision and the conversation that the organization is going to be having. And not only with him, but with the other free agents that we talked about, upcoming guys, coaching staff wise, they're going to be looking at Randy Fichtner, obviously evaluating him, Matt Canada, and how, you know, the offense looked, especially late in the year. It's going to be a lot of stuff like that going on. But when you put a performance like this out there, that's what you bring. That's the negativity that comes with it. It sucks. And that's why as players, we would always say, if you don't want them trying to get you for your job, if you don't want them talking about you like that, don't put that type of stuff out there on tape. Unfortunately, we've started to see a lot more of it show up on tape. And now those are the conversations that are going to have to be had. But man, this is very disheartening right here, man. Very disheartening. It's absolutely Jacksonville all over again, man. And not even playoff Jacksonville. To me, this is more so regular season Jacksonville game, man. I don't think outside of Cleveland, I don't think anyone expected this type of scenario, man. This is nuts. First off, the fact that 48 points were scored on this defense. Think about how good this defense has been. Now, granted, we know the injuries, especially later in the year, put a damper on things, but 48 points, and this is the Browns we're talking about. Man, this is wow. Yeah. Oh man. And y'all know I like to be positive, but this is crazy. I mean, to me, this reminds me. I understand people bring up Jacksonville. The only reason I don't say Jacksonville because obviously they went to the AFC Championship game that year and should have went to the Super Bowl. This reminds me of more of that. What year was that? Was that 11? I think it was 11. The Broncos year. That's what this loss. I mean, now granted, it wasn't the Broncos didn't play up to that level. Obviously, the game went in overtime and it went the way it did, but that's the vibe I get right here, where you come into a game and you were favored heavily. This was a game that, under any circumstances, I mean, if you play this game 20 times, 19 of them will be a blowout. This game reminds me of that game because that was the same type of thought. And obviously, being as an outsider, that's how I viewed that game for the Steelers and Broncos with Tebow at quarterback. And we remember how everybody felt seeing how that game ended. This is how I feel right now just looking at this. Like, this is crazy. Mm-mm-mm. I mean, yeah. Since I got y'all up here right now for playoff losses, right? Where does this rank? I mean, this is terrible. Where does this rank to you guys? Is this worse than that Tebow loss? I personally feel like it is, just because of everything surrounding the Browns coming into this thing. They hadn't practiced since what? I think they had their first practice Friday, but that was their first practice since I think the previous Friday or something like that. They were working virtual, no coaching staff. Like, this is nuts to me, man. Nuts. So yeah, where does this rank, man? Is this worse than that Tebow loss? Is this worse than that Jags loss? How do you rank those three? Please let me know, because yeah, I need some help here. Yeah. Now, Felicia Bellard, you said this is number 4. So let me know how you rank who you ranking ahead of that. Mm. I'm seeing a lot of ones right now. I'm seeing a lot of people saying this is worse. To me, this is number 1. To me, this is number 1. Like I said, that Tebow team, even though they had dropped, I think they had came into that game, that playoff game, they had dropped 3 of their last 4, something like that. That Steelers team still had some flaws, right? They still, I mean, they were good, but they still had some issues. This team right here, I think because the expectations were so high, and the way that the season started out and everything surrounding the Browns coming into this game, and the fact that it's Cleveland. It's Cleveland. Like, come on, man. This is Cleveland we're talking about. To me, that's why this game is number 1 on that list. So you go, all right. So Diego, you're going Jacksonville in 17, Browns, and then the Tebow loss. Okay. Okay. I see Thomas, you said still Tebow. Destiny, you said still Tebow. I'm seeing a lot of number 1s though. And Javier, I would definitely tell Deke you said stop defend. You told Deke to stop defending Big Ben. I'm gonna tell him. All right. Now y'all seen when I've said it. The only issue is this: I've stopped doing it because I noticed that, and I ain't want to address y'all all the way, but I be saying y'all be telling me that I hate Ben. I'm like, bro, I have no reason to hate Ben. Ben is my guy. I just look from an objective standpoint. That's the difference. And when you view it objectively, there are some shortcomings with him right now. Different. Nothing against him personally. We're just talking about when you're just viewing him from a on-field standpoint. But man, this is bad though, baby. Man. Cam, tell my guy to a Deke stop. Jaguars a very close second. Hey Nick, I'm with you though. I do feel like the Jaguars game is definitely up there. Like I said, for me, I just think that the reason I have Jaguars at 3 is because number 1, Shazier went down. What, a couple weeks prior to that game, that changed everything. That was the quarterback of our defense. So I'm always going to feel some type of way about that, just because we know how well we played when he was out there and when he was healthy. And now with him not being out there, we saw what ended up happening to us in the playoffs. So that's the only reason why I don't put it fully on them. And we said that Jags team, if you look up their statistics that year, they were scoring 30 and 40 multiple times that season. And went, like I said, not even questionable call, a bad call by the referee away from being the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. So that's the only reason why I still don't put them all the way in that category just yet. But to me, man, this is definitely the worst. And it's not even close. That's the problem. Like, if this is like a 3-point game, if it was a 7-point game, that's different, right? Man, we're getting dubbed. Like, if we're playing Madden right now, we'll be looking over there like, hey man, get ready to pass them sticks. Like, that's the territory we're in. That's not acceptable. Not acceptable. This is the Browns and this is the Steelers. That's the problem, man. So yeah, I got this as 1A. Or so I got this as 1. Okay, so Destiny, you say Browns is 1A, Jacksonville is 1B, and then you have Denver at 2. it's Blake Bortles, man. You are right. But I will say this. You look at Blake Bortles' statistics in 17, and I think it was either 16-17 or 17-18. Those were actually his 2 best years of his career. I'm just saying. Just check them out, man. Just check them out. I don't make this up, man. Oh, man. Hey, Austin, you said AFC Championship versus the Patriots. Are you talking about 2016? Are you doing that to me? Don't do that to me today. We don't want to bring that one up, baby. You feel me? We had some factors in there. So if it's not that one, then talk about another one. But I need to know. Make sure we still friends because that might hurt my feelings. See. All right, so Ian, that's a good question, and that's gonna be a question that a ton of people are gonna ask, and we're definitely going to talk about that tomorrow. Obviously, when we record the podcast, in terms of would this game have went differently, or would the Steelers have won if Mason was at quarterback? I mean, obviously Mason had some success last week. I will say this though, they are playing a total different version of their coverage this game than what they did last week. So that's the only reason I'm not 100% sure. Now, obviously, once I get a chance to rewatch it and things like that, I can see a lot more from a film standpoint. Some of the coverages from a fully, but I personally don't think that it would have been a difference if they were turning the ball over like that. I mean, you start out with the snap to give up 7 points. I don't know how Mason responds to that hole right out the gate in the playoffs. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, when would you have made that switch? Because I don't think you were not going to come into this game and start Mason over a healthy Ben. So when would you have made the switch? After the first turnover, the second turnover, the third one, when were you going to make it? And whenever you would have made it, you would have put Mason into a very hostile situation that I personally don't think would have benefited him. And I don't think we would have saw the best version of him like we saw last week. But in true Steelers fashion, they have successfully cut it down to, so it was an 11-point game now with a minute left. So, yeah, there's still time. Onside kick, though. Got to recover it. Obviously, we know onside kicks in terms of since they've made the shift from from an alignment standpoint, it's been a lot more difficult in terms of recovering some of these onside kicks. But, hey, there's a chance. No one thought we would see, 5 turnovers in this type of start that they had. So, yeah, we're good. And shout out to the NFL record for completions for number 7. 47 completions. 68 attempts is insane to me. But 47 completions, 500 yards, all right. 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. I mean, it's one of those crazy stat games, right? Holy cow. I mean, think about this. We used to talk about Ben throwing the ball 40 times and saying that was a lot. This man threw it 68 times tonight. That is crazy. I personally don't think I've seen that before. No, honestly, I really don't think I've seen that many pass attempts before in a game. By one quarterback. Jeez. And yes, they recovered the onside kick because, yeah, they just showed the percentages. Man, it's like less than 4% that you recover onside kicks now because of the new rules that they put in. But, yeah, that's crazy. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, Joshua, you're right, man. The first quarter was the big difference, right? You take away that changed, but the problem is you can't take it away, right? That's what we say in the playoffs. There is no tomorrow. There isn't a mulligan. You don't get the luxury of starting slow and hitting the reset button. It's your backs against the wall. You have to have it. And now, yeah, they get to celebrate and do all the Corvette dances. I'm sure they'll be doing a lot more of that near the logo. I mean, it's a part of it, when you, it's the showmanship. I don't think it had anything to do with this outcome. And I don't think any of the other comments, I know he said, I think Juju said, same old Browns. I don't think that, I mean, obviously it gave him a little bit of momentum, but I don't think that was the deciding factor. The deciding factor was the 5 turnovers and those 2 drives in the fourth quarter where the Steelers weren't able to get off the field defensively. To me, that's the big thing, man. Yeah. Do I think Ben is gonna retire, John? Honestly, I don't. Let's be real. He had the 4 picks. I say 3 of them were on him. The one that his second interception, Deontay has to come down with it. People will make a debate in terms of it being a high throw, but to me, if it hits the receiver's hands like that, you got to bring that down. But in terms of him retiring, he might say some, questionable things when they talk to him right after the game, because he's the ultimate competitor. And when he gets down in the dirt or down in the dumps, he gets all the way down there. You think about the Jacksonville game, right? Where he was like, man, maybe I should hang it up. If he says something like that right in the heat of the moment, don't take it seriously. I think it's more so just the passion that he has right now because of this performance. But I do think that he will play next year as long as the Steelers, take care of business in terms of what they're going to do with him from a contract standpoint. I do think that he will stay, though. Man. And in terms of Randy Fichtner, they've been a package deal. You have to think Randy's been his quarterback coach for I can't remember how many years now, and then obviously he's been bumped up to OC. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if they want to keep those two together. If they try to do something different, you have to also remember that this would be potentially one of the last years or final years for Ben. How open is he going to be to a new offensive coordinator and things like that as well? So it's going to be a lot of questions surrounding this team. It's going to be a lot of questions in big time decisions surrounding both, like I said, personnel on the field and from a coaching standpoint. And then you also have to worry about potentially losing some of the critical guys in the scouting department, guys like Brandon Hunt, who's done a phenomenal job acquiring some of the talent that he's acquired. He could potentially be getting a potential job somewhere else. Obviously, Omar Khan, he's been the numbers guy in terms of the contract negotiation, making sure that the salary cap works out. I know he's getting looked at for a potential general manager position as well. So it's going to be a lot potentially going on that we're going to have to stay tuned into, man. So it's going to be interesting. I hate the fact, like I said, that it's starting right now, because who wants to start talking about this stuff the first week of January, baby? Usually we like to wait until February with the confetti on us. But that's going to be the hard conversation we're going to have to start having, man. It's unfortunate, but I will say this, man. As we get ready to sign off of this watch party, man, I got to say shout out to each and every one of y'all. Y'all were phenomenal all season long. And yeah, we loved it. I loved it personally. Obviously, my man Deke had a blast with it. And we're going to keep the content coming in throughout the all season. Y'all know this is what we do. We will continue doing some more live stuff. The live film sessions we've been doing, that's going to keep happening. And we're going to find some other live things that we're going to implement. Also, if y'all are open to potentially some of these other bigger playoff games, especially once we're talking AFC, NFC championship games, Super Bowls, if y'all are interested in doing some more of this live watch party stuff, let me know, all right? Put it in the comment section if you're down for it. If y'all with it, I'm with it. You feel me? But I'm only going to do it if y'all want it, baby, all right? So let me know if y'all feeling it. Then, yeah, we'll keep these things rolling, obviously, throughout the playoffs and stuff like that, man. But just let me know, all right? And once again, man, got the shirts. Shout out to the people that have been supporting the movement, man. But if you haven't, man, the link is right here in the chat. And then also under every video, you'll see the link for the different shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs. Remember, portion of the proceeds will be going to various charities here in Pittsburgh, man. We've been working with the local food bank up here and doing a lot of stuff there as well. So, like I said, man, make sure y'all supporting not only supporting the movement, but supporting the community as well, all right? And I'm trying to think, do we got anything else to update y'all on? Yeah, because the show's still gonna go on, baby. Like I said, we still got content for you guys all year long, just like how we did last year. So don't worry about that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, though. So officially signing off from the last Steelers watch party from the 2020-2021 season. It's been real. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And until next time, peace.